A warrior's mind began as a note to self. I didn't foresee that it would grow into such a big and important piece of work. So you may be wondering why a warrior's mind. I don't know if you've ever viewed yourself as a warrior in your life, but the Word of God tells us that we are in a battlefield. And so, what better to be in a battlefield than a warrior? So, A Warrior's Mind is a book about you and me as we transverse this life's many ups and downs, as we go through the battles that come through this life, whether good or bad. That is what the book is about. So, in this book, I highlight my own battle as I go through along the book. And I know that my battle is similar to many other people's, and it is also different. This book draws not only from my own journey with this big asset that God gave me, which is the mind. I believe that the mind is one of the greatest assets that we have. And I believe that having a sound mind, knowing who you are and what you're here to do, and having many other resources around you that help you to nourish your mind and unleash its full potential is key in our journey of life. And I want to go through with you what the book is really about so that even as you are thinking about getting it, you have the gist of what it's about. So, sometime back, I experienced postnatal depression when I got my first child. And it was also around this time that the pandemic came along and many other life seasons were happening. And so I made a decision after getting the right help to sort of journey, write down or note my journey as I went along life, because I believe that I would get into this season again, like when we planned to have a second child. And I wanted to be prepared so as not to sink into the same hole again. And so I began writing this book as a note to self that I would be able to use in my second pregnancy and any other child that God gave. And so I did start writing. That's why it has taken 3 years, because I needed to also go through the second phase so that I would ascertain that the lessons that I have drawn are really working. So I started writing, and yes, I did get pregnant again by the grace of God. And this journey of pregnancy, the pregnancy itself was so much harder than my first child. My first child's pregnancy was very seamless, very easy, nothing apart from the ordinary. But within my second pregnancy, I had a very heavy diagnosis and I had a lot of things going on around me that were not working out. But the difference is when I got my second born child, I did not sink into postnatal depression again. And this is because I had with me a lot of the lessons that I had learned before. And I had at my disposal so many things that I changed and that I used by the grace of God to see me through this. And so this is what I've documented because it has worked for me and I believe it will continue working for me as I go through life. I thought, why not share these lessons with my fellow warriors so that man or woman, whatever battles are going on in your life, you're able to go through them and tackle them as who you are. So, this book will have sections that share part of my life story, but the bulk of it is what I have learned from the Word of God, from nature, and from many other resources, including health resources that help us to walk the journey towards peak mental health and being at your best self. Because when your mind is healthy, then your body is healthy, then you're able to make decisions the right way from a right point. I do not believe we can take the aspect of faith out of the discussion of mental health, because I have had many health professionals share that even as they medicate their patients, faith is a big aspect to whether mental health patients or people suffering from various illnesses will get better or not. Faith is a big part of that. So this book begins with finding out what our identity is, who you are, ensuring that we start the book on a note of self-awareness and who we are and what we are here to do. So it is basically sort of a guide with reminders about who we were made to be and why we are here. And then we go on to see how we can leave the pendulum of not knowing and knowing and being lukewarm and taking a stand on who we are and choosing a side. So the second chapter is about picking sides. It's about starting from a place of where you are and who you choose to follow as your commander. So whether we know it or not, every day in our lives we are following someone. So we'd rather be able to choose a side, and so that we know this is where I'm going and this is what I do, dictated by what it is that we choose. Then we delve into the promises of God for you as a warrior. What is it He has promised you as you journey through your life? The third chapter is about dressing for war, because as a warrior, you need to have the right armor on in order to go through your battle successfully. You can't go to war in Crocs, so we talk about the kind of shoes you're supposed to wear, the kind of attire, the kind of headgear, so that you're able to uh, concentrate on the battle at hand. The next thing we talk about is how we receive communication from our command center, which is from God. So we talk about prayer and how to pray and hindrances to our prayer life and how we can uh, maybe overcome those ones so that we are able to have a healthy prayer life. Prayer is a big part of wellness in terms of mental health and even physical health. Prayer is a very, very big part of that. Then we go into fellowship. A warrior does not go to battle alone. There are those around you that you've been given the command with, so that you're able to help each other. You have your post, they have their post in your life. And so we talk about fellowship and how this works out in your life's journey. And then we talk about healing, because on the battleground you will get a lot of wounds and we need to heal in order to keep moving, to keep battling, to keep enjoying the good moments of life, and to keep climbing up the mountains. And when we're in the valley, we need to remember that we were made whole and we need to operate as whole. So healing is a very key part of that. And in healing, we talk about forgiveness, whether it's forgiving yourself or forgiving other people. So the next chapter is to remind us some lessons from nature. God, in His wisdom, made every animal, every plant for a purpose. So we look at an example of animals in their natural setting and how we can learn lessons from how they go about that. So we talk about the lion, the eagle, the ant, the caterpillar, and many, many others. And then chapter 8 is about social media. Social media is a big part of our lives today. It's a big part of the discussion surrounding wellness. How much social media should you consume? What is healthy? What is not? What boundaries can you set for yourself, for your family, for your children? I believe we cannot have the mental health conversation without talking about social media in this day and age. And then chapter 9 delves into mental health tips that you can apply practically, that I have applied to my own life, and that you can apply as you go through your life, because every one of us needs to nurture their mental health. So everyone can apply these things to be able to operate from a point of peak mental health. It applies to every person. It also applies to those who have been diagnosed with any mental health issue that they are dealing with, whether medically or not. These are tips that can work for everyone and can enrich everyone's life. And then the last chapter is about, of course, getting help. It shows us how Jesus lived his life and how we can relate to that. We ask the question, what would Jesus do? And we are able to draw from his example on how to get help when we need it. And in the book, it also gives various avenues where you can get help. So that is the book A Warrior's Mind. I keep saying it's a labor of love. It began as a note to self and grew to something that I wanted to share with the world. It's my second nonfiction book, but unlike the first one, it's a bit more bulky. So thank you for listening. If you want to get the book, it's on Amazon. The ebook is on Amazon. I will be sharing the link. The physical copy you can get through any of my social media handles or my contacts. And I'll also be updating on which bookshops will be stocking this book. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.